I think the best thing I ever did was say this dream out loud to the people who care about me the most. And when you're stuck, you raise your hand.
Having someone that can be there with you to navigate that without any sort of judgment.
I'm Michelle.
And I'm Whitney. This is the Use Your Fear podcast.
It's sad to think that, like, I feel like in some ways, like, there is more exposure out there, and I feel like that's created there's more of a divide between us, and there's more of a, like, I'm scared in ways that I didn't used to be, and that's part of, like, me presenting super femme was also kind of a way of trying to protect myself. I didn't want to, like, I wanted to be who I was, but I didn't want to have to deal with how the world was going to treat me. And, like, the sad part about it is, like, I wouldn't have a heart if it was not for, like, other people actively trying to make it more difficult. You know, I really enjoyed my life. I have a really great relationship. I have amazing friends. Like, I have a lot to be thankful for. And, like, if it wasn't for these outside things, like the state of Texas actively trying to ban us from bathrooms, and that's, like, they had tried to pass a law banning gender affirming care for all ages, not just minors.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
They just banned the crisis helpline for youth for the LGBTQ community.
Like, for some people, like, it's like I don't feel like I have, like, a victim complex, but, like, it is harder for me to find a job. Whenever I apply for a job and all my government documentation gives one name, but I look and sound and go by a different name, it's very obvious. Like, I'm not able to really be, like, to be stealth, which is, like, you know, some people are stealth. Like, they are trans. Nobody knows that they're trans except for, like, the very select few people. You know, like, it does make employment harder. It does, like, I'm very cautious in the workplace on, like, well, if I speak up, I don't want to look like that trans person that's always the victim. Like, you know, it makes it harder for everybody in the community. Like, dating, very difficult. And that's actually something that, like, whenever I first started T, my biggest fear with, like, going in bathrooms and stuff like that was, like, I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. And I know that people do feel uncomfortable. And, like, even though, like, I have good intentions, I just want to go pee.
Yeah.
I know that people will, oh, who's this man coming in the bathroom? But then if I go in the men's restrooms, I'm sitting to pee.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So,
I'm just doing a bodily function like everybody does every day, like a million times a day.
Just let me pee.
Yeah. So, like, it's like, I'm like always hyper aware of, like, am I making this person uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Am I doing anything that might make them think that I'm a threat? And it's like, it sucks because, like, whenever I first started T and, like, was getting back into dating, I really wanted to challenge myself to date without dating apps. Like, you know what? I feel like I've used this as a crutch to avoid actually having to, like, you know, be brave and go up to people and ask them out. And I was talking to my therapist, and I was like, she was like, I mean, why? If you wanted to ask her out, why didn't she? I was like, I didn't want to make her uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Because now I know that my voice sounds different. So if I talk to somebody, they might just think that I'm some dude coming up to them and hitting on them, or, like, that I might be unsafe for them. And, like, that sucks because I'm like, I never want people to feel unsafe around me. But I know that because my voice is deeper, because I'm more mask presenting, because I have some facial hair sometimes, I'm just deemed as, like, man unsafe. And so it's like my therapist said something that stuck out to me. She's like, I mean, you might make people uncomfortable, but that's just life. You might say the wrong thing, you might mess up, but your fear of making people uncomfortable and your need to like be good and right is holding you back from being able. And so like you're not making decisions. Like you're not, part of what is like what we get to experience is like the getting to know people, trying, failing, but we're so afraid of everything now. Like people are afraid to talk to me about me being trans because they don't want to say the wrong thing. They don't want to offend anybody. They don't want to get canceled. So like everybody's just like walking on eggshells around each other. And it's like if we just talk about shit, it would be a much safer world.
Yeah, I think language bridges the gap, just like language bridged the gap for you to understand who you were, what you were going through, what your thoughts or feelings are. Language, I didn't realize until you just said it, how much it bridges the gap to the unknown, to the known between people. This is fucking exactly why we started this fucking podcast.
You pull out my corporate side real fast. One of my phrases I use a lot when I have disagreements with people in, whatever venue is 99.9% of all your issues will be solved by better communication.
Yeah. And
I think that we're all afraid to have those conversations, like you said. And yeah, that is exactly why we wanted this podcast to be here, so we can have these conversations. We can bring it to people's life and talk about the hard things that people want to maybe hear and maybe want to talk about, but are too afraid to.
I was afraid. Like I
5 years afraid.
But no, I mean, even like setting up your episode, I was afraid because I want to do right by you. I know you. I know who you are as a person. I know where and I just wanted to do it in the right way. So I had all this thing. Is this okay? Is that okay? And I was like, wait a minute. This is throwing it I am making a big deal out of it. What the fuck am I doing? Like, because I've never, like, this is the most deepest interaction I've ever had with a trans person. And the more you talk, the more I see myself in you. And I think if more people spoke to each other and got curious with each other, that we would all see we're just fucking people at the end of the day, dude. Like it's just like you're walking around and you're like wearing blue shoes. Like you're just walking around as a person. Like I just, the guts that you have, you're just such an inspiration to me. I've loved, watching your journey when you cut your hair. I know that was such a big moment, and I was like, wait, what's going on over here? Like, what's happening?
What's funny is I never like officially did a coming out or anything like that. Yeah, I just cut my hair off, and then with time, when I was ready, I just changed my pronouns on social media, and then I just changed my name on social media. Like I never really had like when I came out as gay, I made a video. I like came out. I was like, I want all you bitches to know. That felt like a bigger deal to me than transitioning, because transitioning, it felt more like just like the natural. I was just like, yeah, this is me
becoming who you actually are.
Yeah, it felt more natural instead of me feeling like I needed to make a whole display of it. Yeah. Because like I said, like me being queer, me being trans is like one of the least interesting things about
Right.
Like, okay. But like for so long I clung to that identity, and I still cling to my identity, but I don't feel like it's like everything. Versus when I came out as queer, I think like, or when I came out as lesbian originally, I needed to find community. And so I was like very much like, I'm lesbian, and like everything was about me being lesbian. And I realized now, like I was just trying to communicate or connect with people like me. And now I'm like, I already have a really good community, so I never felt the need. Like I felt safe enough to just be and not make a big production of it. And like, and some people, for them, what feels right is making it. It's a big moment. You're super excited. So like, I didn't say anything. I just cut my hair off, and then I didn't say anything. I just changed my pronouns. And like, people would just naturally ask me, like, "Hey, I noticed on Instagram your pronouns. Are they them?" I'm like, "Yep."
Mhm.
You tell right. Do you have any questions? Like,
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk about it, but like, I didn't feel the pressure that I did before to come out. I'm like, damn, bitch, like how many times are you gonna come out? What are you gonna
I love your moments.
yeah, so like I did my big one, and then with this one I just was just like, this is what it is.
What's the saying where if you talk about it, you're not really it? Like, you know, guys with their BDE or
Actions speak louder than words.
no, like if I don't know why my brain is going here, but here it is. And I'm just gonna reveal something about myself. I love trash TV, okay? And there is Married at First Sight. There's a character on there that it's always like, I'm a good person. I'm an only good person. If you have to keep saying it, then you're not. You're just trying to convince yourself. But if you just be, you don't have to announce it everywhere you go. You're just being yourself. And that struck me when you were just talking about when I'm a lesbian, like, you know, the coming out and the announcements. But when you did this, when you became you didn't have to make a big hubbub about it. You're just fucking living your life.
Like if people notice it, they notice it. Like,
yeah,
for a long time I wasn't going because I'm like, I wasn't hiding anything, but I would like talk on the phone. My voice would just be a little bit deeper. And I remember one time I was like, "Are you sick?" I was like, "No, fine."
Yeah.
Like, oh, your voice just sounded different. So I mean, eventually I did email my parents because my dad and I are not very good at communicating without it getting heated.
Yeah.
And so, and like whenever I was younger in high school, like we could not get along.
Yeah.
And like I remember my dad one time telling me, like, I don't know how to talk to you because I get mad, you get mad. It's not a productive conversation. Like I want to try to find some way for us to communicate. So him and I started like writing letters to each other. Like I was upset that you did this.
Yeah.
And then I would give it to him. That way he could have a chance to think about it. And then he would respond when he was ready. And then I'd respond when I was ready. And so like maybe that's like not very good communication. Like, you know,
honestly, I think that's smart.
That's healthy.
Like if you're having trouble having a conversation because it's always going to get heated and it's never going to be productive, like that's a smart move.
It's
that y'all
so
did.
smart.
Not. And it was so much better because I felt like I was able to connect with my dad in a way like he wasn't. He was pretty good at, like, he's very emotional and in like a good way. Like he wasn't afraid to cry in front of us. Like and even though we don't have a relationship anymore, I can still respect that. Like, I'm so thankful that I grew up in a home where like masculinity was not something that was like my dad openly cried in front of us. He wore pink whenever he felt like it. He was never afraid of being emotional. Like he would tell me, or he would like say, like, if a man can't cry, that's a weak man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if he feels the need to show you how manly he is, that's a weak man. So like, I'm so thankful that I grew up like that, because me transitioning to myself, I'm like, I did have a very good role model when it came to masculinity. That wasn't this like, and also it helps that I'm a woman, you know, so like, I love the perspective that it's given me, but also I'm like, even if I'm very grateful to him, like I said, even if we couldn't really bridge this gap of like, you know, I wrote them an email and I never heard from them again. And I mean, I messaged my mom to say Happy Mother's Day, so thanks. Messaged my dad for Happy Father's Day, thanks. So that sucks, but like, I am so thankful for like what he taught me. And like, growing up, I would hear how he would tell my brother on like how to treat women, etiquette, you know, opening doors, things like that. And I would always pay attention to what my dad was telling my brother. And I remember thinking like, oh, I mean, I never want a man to do these things for me. But it was more so like I was listening because I was like, oh, I want to do this for someone. And which, I mean, that should have been a pretty clear indicator that I wanted to take masculine roles. But like, and I did want to say, like, with coming out as lesbian, like, that was very important for me to make a big deal of it at the time, because it was so significant. Because at the time, I was leading women's Bible studies, and I was a Sunday school teacher, and like I was super involved in the church, and all of my friends were people from church, and all of my family is super religious. And so it was a huge deal, because that for me was like accepting, like, okay, I'm no longer a part of this community that I've clung to for so long. And, you know, it was horrible. Like, I feel like I got it so much worse back then than it did now. Probably because at this point, people have been used to me being a black sheep for years. So it's just like, trans now? Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't really that big of a deal. And I feel like a lot of people saw it coming. But like with coming out before, it was just like, I think like I could never be hurt as much as I was back then ever again. So I wasn't as scared to come out as trans. I mean, I was in some ways. Like, I didn't want to be ugly. Like, there were some things, like, I didn't want to get hate crimed. But like before, it was like I lost all my family. I just pulled up the other day. I got emailed from the elders at church, and people would show up at my job, like members of the church. They would not remove me from this like church newsletter. And so for weeks, I got these emails for the newsletter, and it had my name highlighted, asking people to pray for me as I no longer walked with the Lord and had given, it was like something like, I've given into my worldly impulses towards homosexuality. It was like worded super weird. And that happened for months. Like I was getting text messages. Like when I moved to Florida, I changed my number because I was like, I read the Bible front to back 8 times. I know what it says. You don't need to text me scriptures. I know exactly what it says. You know, it's like it was like a huge, that for me was like less about coming out as lesbian and more so about breaking up with church. Like I was breaking up with Christianity and breaking up with my family. All my friends, like,
I mean, you have to mourn that too in order to get through it. And you know, everybody thinks, oh, my family is my family, they'll stick with me no matter what. That's supposed to be unconditional love, and it's not for some people. And that's fucking fucked up. And I just, I kept thinking about what perspective you had, what you shared about how much you learned from your dad. Like the fact that you've looked at your journey and you can still look back and appreciate things like that, or where did you learn that? Where did that come from? Like those are such important questions to ask yourself whenever you are just getting to know yourself on a deeper level. And then when you were talking about approaching women, I don't want to be that creep. Well, why? Because you when you were a woman knew what that felt like and how shitty that was. And so it's like I would imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, you're walking down a tightrope of I'm being too much or I'm not being enough.
Yeah.
And how exhausting that is. You almost have to play like 4D chess. You're like, okay, I'm gonna get off on this bus stop and then I'm gonna, oh, my phone isn't working. Okay, let's think about how I can, like you're the laundry list of options that you're creating for yourself that you shouldn't be wasting your brain juice, as I call it, on stuff like that. You should be thinking, how can I better my life? How can I better someone else's life? How can I better my dog's life? Like, how can I, just live? And I was curious too, you talked about therapy, because going through this is, traumatic in itself. So what do you recommend for someone who's trying to figure things out? And when did you start therapy? What has helped you during that time?
Yeah, so my biggest piece of advice would be to get a therapist.
Yeah.
To find somebody that, even if you're not sure, like, because I feel like some people are like, well, am I trans or am I that? Like, I feel like everybody goes through a period of like questioning what their identity is. Finding a therapist that has in their, like, what their specialties are, whatever issue that like specifically. My first therapist didn't really deal with a lot of trans issues, so I feel like there were some ways that she didn't know how to. I feel like she just didn't have a lot of trans clients. She just didn't seem as experienced, but I didn't know any better because that was my first therapist.
Yeah.
My next therapist was a lot better at getting me to ask myself those questions because she had so many trans clients. I also, one thing that helped me significantly was connecting with other trans people on Instagram. Because like I had come across like the communities, like I lived in Denver for a while, and honestly there were not a lot of trans people across at all. I feel like in Austin, like the group, and it's because I have so many friends that are in the LGBTQ community. I was around so many trans people. Like I went to a trans pride event and like I cried because I've never seen so many trans people before. It was like just having fun. It wasn't sad, like everybody's at cheer. Charlie's just dancing and laughing. And it like that for me was like, it was super helpful to put myself in a position where like, yes, it's important to have people to grieve with and to be able to talk about the heavy things, but you also have to find people that you can enjoy with, that like you can laugh with and be lighthearted with, because it like I have a tendency to be so serious and dark and heavy all the time now, and like I have to be more intentional about like, okay, for a little bit we're just gonna lock off all of the bad shit and we're just gonna be with our friends and maybe take some edibles, like just have fun and not worry about that shit. Like you have to have people that you can separate from the world, I guess. And so for me, like, I could not have done it without the people that I have in my life. And I've been very intentional with the people that I allow in my life. I don't really, and of course, I miss some of the people in my life, but at the same time, like, now I'm with people who know about people like me, who are educated. And it's not necessarily that, like, they're open-minded. I don't feel like I have to come out over and over and over again to people, because I'm around people who, most of the people that I'm around are trans or queer, or like there's some type of like being around marginalized communities in general. Like, I think the best education you can get for yourself is like connecting with people who are not like you too. So like, I have a lot of people of color in my friend group. I have, like, we're all very open-minded, and even if I didn't have a therapist, like, I would say that is like the absolute most important thing, is having people in your corner that, even if they don't understand what you're going through, people that are safe to grow with you.
Language. It all comes back to language and communication. I'm not trying to compare this to you, but I'm also trying to think about the people who, haven't had I'm just trying to relate to everybody, right? And I've had discussions, and I think I said this on the podcast, like, I will talk to anybody. Like, I don't care, what your background is or what your viewpoints are. As long as you're open, we can find common ground. And it's hard to get on the defensive. It's hard to, I get on the defensive really easily about certain topics, just like anybody. But when we're able to, like, okay, be curious again, ask questions, we realize we're not that different. And it's so funny, because you're like, everybody goes through a moment where they wonder if they're trans, and I'm like,
well, not trans, but
no, right, and gay. Yes, thank you. Yes, gay.
But so who sorry. You are, your identity. Yeah.
Yes, and the amount of, like, I am resonating with you so much just from a different perspective. And your story isn't just unique to being trans. Your story is universal to all people.
I agree with that. Like, through the different fears we've talked about, your story is your journey through figuring out who you are. And, like, I was always trying to figure out who I was, coming from, like, we have to be super girly, or not super girly, but, like, I don't fit into the norm of my family. And so a lot of the same fears that we've talked about through this episode, I'm like, I feel that. Even though it's a different journey, like, the fears are still the same type of fears. Your fears are similar fears that I've had, similar fears that Michelle's had.
Yeah.
It's just a different journey. And it's so eye-opening, and I hope it is to others, that, like your shirt says, you're a human, I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I try to have grace with people that, well, I mean, sometimes people make it very hard to have grace with them.
Yes.
The facts.
But typically, I have a really hard time talking to conservatives.
Yeah.
And it's great because, like, I there's a part of me that I can empathize with it, because I grew up very conservative. I grew up thinking the same things. And so whenever I learned more information, though, I did start to shift my worldview. And I feel like some people are just so stuck on it. So I have a very hard time not necessarily being respectful in my communication, but I just, in general, don't try as much as I probably should. When I guess like there are certain demographics of people that I just really have a hard time connecting with. And
they're not open to thinking and changing.
Yeah, I have a
being
hard time
curious.
with men because I feel like, you know, like I also have my own biases, and
Yep.
you know, it's something I need to work on too. I was just thinking about like I don't really have any guy friends that aren't trans guys, and so I have a difficulty understanding where they're coming from because I'm like I don't have friends like that, but I also don't like either. So it's like I feel like it comes from both sides where like I need to be more open in communicating with people that like I'm very privileged and that like I'm surrounded by queer people. So I really don't have to like
Mask.
I don't have to mask very much, except for at work. And like at work, I feel like there's
Vest. Do you vest at work?
We'll call it. It's your version of masking is a vest.
yeah, I vest.
You're vesting.
So there's like I feel like there's kind of an imbalance at work because I'm the server. I'm serving people. So it's like there's no real opportunity to, you know, be vulnerable with people. Yeah. But then like whenever I have opened myself up to having deeper conversations with guys, and when they have been open to it as well, whenever I'm like talking to guys that don't feel like they need to be macho, and like it's crazy to think like they go through the same shit too, but just in a different way. And so like if we all just were more open to just communicating with people, we do have so much more in common. Like I never grew up with guy friends. I've always had a distrust of men. And so like even yesterday, my girlfriend actually, she has like a best guy friend. And he had texted her, like we all had a pool party. And he said, he was like, I really like Kris and I really want to get to know Kris, but I can tell that they're very reserved. And so she said something to me. And I was like, why would I want to be friends with a guy? And I was like,
oh.
No, I was like, I may actually be part of the problem as well. Because like I also, and it's like, I feel like it's gotten especially bad with the last election. I do take it personally whenever people are like, and I shouldn't. Like I know, I don't know. I'm still trying to work through my feelings about all of that because I don't want to be a hateful person. And I do think that like some people did vote for Trump because of the economy or like whatever their reason was. I have a hard time not taking it personally because so much of what's happening is an attack on me and people like me. And so like I feel like for part of the problem is, and like maybe I'm wrong in thinking that we shouldn't take it as personally and should just try to talk to each other. But like also like
it's easier said than done. Like I have family members who you know, the news just got too much for them. So it's like they don't even look at it. They don't even know what's going on anymore. And so when I would come to visit, you know, oh, presidents don't really matter. Like nothing really changes. And I go, I'm sorry, did you lose rights? Because I had an ectopic pregnancy before every Roe versus Wade was overturned. And so if I went through that now, I would either been unalive.
You'd be in jail or dead.
Or, yeah, if I flew to another state, I would get prosecuted. So, and that's just because of something that happened in my body. I have no control over that.
So like very vulnerable subject. Like, so since I had gotten laid off and started serving again, I was having a really hard time financially. To the point I almost got evicted because I was behind. I could not catch up. And I had friends that like for me, it was a huge deal that I felt safe enough to tell my friends what was going on. And they just like the way that they checked in on me, the way like they just let me be upset and let me be, like my friends were all like, oh no, you would never, like you can sleep on my couch or my couch or my couch or my couch. They have like, okay, your dogs, like, I can't have the dogs, but this person can. Like, they were like all trying to help me through it, and like, thank God, like nothing, that everything got resolved, and I just like that was such a huge like. It wasn't necessarily like, it's not that I need somebody to bail me out, but like I had a support system that I've never had. And, whenever it comes to top surgery, one of my friends is a yoga instructor, and she said, okay, perfect. Like, so for fundraising, you're like, because it's a super expensive process. And obviously, like, not that long ago, almost got evicted. So, like, obviously, I could shell out tens of thousands of dollars. And so she was like, what?
Sorry, say that amount again. How much?
Oh, so only not tens of thousands of dollars, but $13,000 is the quote. Well, from this specific surgeon, which he's like the best, and that's who I'd want to go with. And he's also gonna
don't go to mediocre.
Yeah, not for this.
No, it's important.
Yeah, but I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna come up? Like,
yeah.
But I've been looking at other surgeons too. But like she's wanting to do a yoga class where like, half half of it would go to me for that. And then, the other half she said 25% would go to a local queer organization called Local Queer, like they're amazing. And then, she would take the other quarter. So like I have people that are like sometimes I can get paralyzed when it comes to taking action on stuff. Even though I talked about like, oh, I'll just move. When it came to this, like it was such a big number to me that like it seemed impossible. And so for the longest time, I've just been like frozen, like not doing a GoFundMe, like not doing anything because I'm just like stuck in like it's not possible. Mm-hmm. But my friends have like really pushed me to make decisions like that, or like to just be there to fall back on. I think is the most important thing about judgment. And also it was crazy because like I was so ashamed to tell people that I was struggling that bad, because everybody else seems like they had it so together. My friends are super successful. Like I have successful friends and everybody is doing great, and it's just me that's failing at
comparison. Yeah,
exactly. And then whenever I opened up and like told people, I mean, I didn't like share it or anything like that. It was just like a few people. Yeah, me too. I'm like, my credit card is so wrapped up because I can't catch up. Like it was like opening up in that way made other people feel safe enough to open up in that way to me. And then I'm like, lo and behold, everybody's fucking struggling. Like, bitch, you're broke too.
It's not just me.
Yeah, it's not just me. And also, like, another thing is, like, when I was struggling, like, I had friends that dropped food off. It was like, they're like, this is really what I can contribute right now. I made this gumbo. I have some left over. I'm dropping it off the chicken. Like, things like that just, are not, huge. I mean, they are huge, but it's like just little acts of kindness like that
go a long way.
you know, like I think about, so I have this friend, Alicia, she's 83 and a lesbian. And she had told me one time that it's like I had gotten laid off and I was avoiding everybody. I was isolating. I didn't want to be the bad energy. And also I was just like, I have nothing to contribute. I can't go to dinner with people because I'm saving money because I don't know when I'm going to get another job. And, you know, I was just avoiding everybody. Like, I feel like you leave the house and it's going to be $500. I mean, not 500, but like, you know what I mean? Like, everything's expensive.
At least 100.
Yeah. And so I've just been like,
How much you're gonna go eat sushi with Michelle? Then it's at least
600? Oh my
It's
god!
not 600, it's not. But it's 100 each for sure.
I was avoiding everybody because I felt like I had nothing to offer, and because I'm like, I don't have the energy. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I'm poor. Like,
Yeah.
you know. So one day, Alicia, she had texted me, and she said, "I'm picking you up at 7 on Tuesday." Like, didn't give me an option, and I was just like, okay, aggressive. And I was like, hey, like, I'm really not feeling up to going to dinner. And she said, well, it's not like you have a job anyway, so you don't have anything else to do. And I was like, okay, aggressive.
It sounds kind of like me to Michelle sometimes.
It is.
Sometimes you need that push.
Yeah, you get a
Somebody
cave.
with their shit.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so she was just like, it's not like you have a job. Like, I'm picking you up. And I was like, okay. And so I did. And we sit down and she tells me, you've been a bad friend. And I was like, and I'm thinking like, damn, like you're really not someone when they're down. She's like, not for the reasons you think. And I was like, why have I been a bad friend? And she's like, you know, you have been avoiding everybody. And you haven't been like, you know, I know you said you feel like you have nothing to offer right now. But she was like, you know, whenever people have asked you for help and you've been in a position to help them, how did you feel? And I was like, good. And I'm thinking like, where's this going? And she was like, so you know that being able to help somebody, no matter how it is, makes you feel good. But by you isolating yourself and you know, just closing off to everybody, you're depriving all of your friends of the opportunity to grow closer to you. And she's like, that's why you've been a bad friend. And she's like, because if it was one of your friends, you would do all this for them. You would, like, if you were in a position to take them to dinner, you would do it because it would make you feel good. And she's like, so, like, it's not all about you. You know, other people want to have the opportunity to do that for you too. And I was like, that hit me like, God damn, like, you're right. Like, I had never thought about it like that. It's so uncomfortable. And
You're making me uncomfortable right now.
it's very uncomfortable.
It is.
But it's like me opening up about what I was going through made other people be like, me too. And like, so many people told me, like, I thought you had it together. I was like, girl, no. No, bestie, I don't know anything about anything. And so it's like all of that like helped me just like being completely transparent with people led to so much more connection than I ever thought was gonna happen. Because like we're so afraid of being judged. And it's like, you know, me telling y'all my story and then you being like, damn, I felt that too. We wouldn't know that if we weren't talking about it. It's like, I would have never guessed you had felt that way. You know, like, even if it's like in different ways that we're questioning ourselves, we're still all questioning ourselves.
Yep.
That was huge. I was also thinking about what it was like selecting a surgeon and like your consultation and like that experience. Can you touch on that if you're comfortable?
Yeah. So the surgeon that I selected was referred to me by actually this girl that I know got her boobs done through him. And she had recommended him, and I was like, oh, I would prefer to find somebody who specializes in like transgender surgery. And she's like, oh, he does those too. Look him up. And so I did, and I was like, oh, that's the guy, because he actually had done the top surgery for a trans guy that I followed on Instagram. And one thing that so before, whenever I had health insurance, my health insurance would cover top surgery if it was like through these select surgeons. And so I had decided on a surgeon then that was in network, but then I got laid off, and so I was like, oh, never mind. And so with him, he was also going to do there's like other things with top surgery that you don't really think about. Like, yes, you might get your boobs cut off, but then what about all of this breast tissue here? It's not covered under insurance because that's liposuction and that's a cosmetic surgery. So he was going to be able to do the lipo here, and then on the back for the breast tissue there, because I didn't even know you have breast tissue in the back.
Oh.
Or further back, or not like back, but like further back. Like
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So a lot of people are unhappy with their top surgery results because that doesn't get done. So like it's like things that you don't think about. And so whenever I did a consultation with him because I was referred to him, and then I found out he's gay, and I was like, oh, perfect. And I think like he was super informative with like what to expect, what exactly he'd be doing, and like mind you, I had to show him my boobs, and I haven't shown anybody my boobs in years. It's been years. And I was just like, but like he made me feel super comfortable, and he like his whole office was super kind and respectful. And like maybe all surgeons are like this, but I haven't gone to every surgeon. I just know that like when I walked in the office, they asked about pronouns and like immediately tried to make me feel comfortable. Like from the receptionist, and then the nurse that like I think they like did like vitals. She was super like she was like curious and asked questions and like just made me feel comfortable. And then he came in and was just very, I think like what was important to me was like I feel like what I've read from some feedback is like some surgeons, if they're not trans, can be kind of like, this is what we're doing, and like kind of he was just like super like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. Is it okay with you before I do this? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Like he understood how big of a deal it was for me. I feel like he understood how big of a deal it was to be showing my chest, and which is like very empathetic and very kind. And then whenever it came to like the financial, like after him, I met with the office manager who went over all the financial stuff. She gave me options, and we discussed, and then she was super, super kind too. So I think just I was referred to them because he's super kind, and then just like everybody in the office is super kind. And so I would decide on that, but and then
I think that's important. I don't think, Michelle and I have had recent conversations about just doctors and not feeling heard and not feeling seen and not having great bedside manner. Like the first neurologist I went to told me to shut up. So you never know. I thought he was talking to me and asked me a question, so I responded to him, and he goes, stop talking. So he didn't say shut up, but it basically. And so I don't think it's a profession. I don't think it's labeled to a specific, you know, career or whatever they're in. I think finding that person where the whole office makes you feel comfortable is big.
Yeah.
I just want to go hug them too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, a few years ago, I had like an experience with like, I always had a fear of doctors. Like, growing up, going to the eye doctor, my eye doctor was a pervert. Or actually, let me backtrack. My pediatrician traumatized me. I had really bad ear issues all the time, and he was being very rough with me, and just like manhandling me. And instead of like making me feel comfortable with him, he's like, turn up, like, just very aggressive. And his nurse got on top of me to hold me down and dug her knees right here for him to be able to check my ears. Like, I was a scared kid. And instead of like trying to make me feel not scared, they were just very aggressive. And he told my mom that kids like this make him question his profession. So that happened, and I was scared of doctors after that because he made my ears bleed too because he was being so rough with me. And then my eye doctor felt me up as a child. And so, and like, I remember like my mom was in the room, and it was like this, like we were both in like freeze state. Because I was thinking, okay, my mom's not reacting, so surely it's okay, because his hands were going to my thighs. And my mom was looking at him like, she was like, in her head, she's like, surely this is not happening. There's no way a doctor would be doing this. He got fired very shortly after that because he'd been doing it. So like, I already had like a huge mistrust of doctors. Also, I also later in life went to the ER, and I didn't have health insurance. And so I went $14,000 into debt for, I think it was an hour and a half trip to the ER where they did like one CAT scan and blood work. And so I was like, oh no, I'm not going to doctors. And then I had a pap smear a few years ago where the doctor was just not very like, I felt like obviously like I don't really have much bottom dysphoria, honestly. Like, it's mainly just my chest. But she was just like, the way that she interacted with me was super weird. Just like, I was like, whoa, hold on. Like, I know that I was there for a pap smear. Like, I knew what I was there for, but like, there was no like,
Walk me through it. Like,
walk me through it. Like, it was super, and then like was not understanding why I was having so much anxiety around her checking for breast tumors. So she was like, take your shirt off, like, and I'm like,
Just do it now.
Like, I'm super fucking nervous. Like, I don't like, she just was not at all good at making me feel comfortable. And so that's also part of it. I was like, I fucking hate doctors. I need top surgery because like at this point, like I started a GoFundMe because I was like, I need to get this done as soon as possible because I don't feel safe now. Because now, like before, I had boobs, but I had a girly voice. Like, you could tell that I was very much born a woman. And so I wasn't as afraid because I was like, okay, I can just say I'm a lesbian. And like, it's still bad. It's still not safe, but it's not as unsafe as being trans. And now I feel like people get angry when they feel tricked. And I think that's like a huge, like, I mean, that's a conversation for another day, but like a lot of violence against trans women which the men know what they're getting into, but then they feel afraid of being found out, afraid of like oh, does this make me gay? And then they get, and so I'm like, okay, people feel angry when they feel tricked. And now it's like, if I have facial hair and my voice is male presenting and my face looks fairly male presenting, but they catch me at a weird angle and can tell that I have boobs, like that is super anxiety inducing. So like that was the point where I was just like, okay, I have to get this done. Like I have to see a doctor, even though I fucking hate doctors. Like I have to do it. It's like it's no longer like a well, like I think like I felt comfortable. I mean, I was uncomfortable, but I was comfortable enough that I like in like knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
From people, and now there's so much unknown, and it seems like there's so much anger and so much fear, which I think like everything boils down to fear. Like
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about, I mean, like for my family, their reaction towards me, they're afraid for the afterlife. Like they think I'm going to hell. People, how they interact, like thinking that trans people are perverts. They don't understand trans people, so they do think that they're out to get their children. That's not even true. Like we're not. I've read a quote that was like talking about, the trans agenda is not to turn your children gay. It's to like, I guess being visible is not to turn your kids gay, but to show that gay kids do grow up and trans kids do grow up to be functioning adults and trans, and they're okay.
Is there anything else about your journey that has helped that you haven't shared with us yet or haven't dove into that you wanted to?
Yeah, I think like I kind of talked about having a support system and like community and stuff like that. A big fear of mine was like not being loved, and like no, I'm too much. Nobody's gonna love me because it's this huge burden, and I definitely want to like give credit to my girlfriend. Who it's funny because her and I met back in 2020. So like when I still had really long hair and was very feminine presenting. And we went on a few dates, but at the time like I wasn't in a place to date, and so it never worked out, and we never talked together. And then we started working together, and it's funny because like she very much identifies as a lesbian and is into women and loves boobs, and like it's so funny because like I always thought she was beautiful, but like her and I got to become friends because through working together, because I was just like, oh, like there's nothing there, because like she's a lesbian, she's into this, she's into that, and so we were able to like connect just authentically. We were able to talk about breakups the same way that like best friends would, because I feel like whenever you talk about breakup with your friends versus with a potential partner, it's a different conversation. You're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much because I don't want it to seem like I'm not over my ex, but have that. We were just talking to each other as friends do, and things developed from there. But like, she's been my biggest advocate and my biggest supporter. And like it's funny because like I'm not necessarily her on paper type, but just through us communicating with each other openly, it's like kind of challenged both of us, and so like especially challenged her because like I said, I'm not her on paper type at all. She's not into guys. She's never dated trans people, but like she's been such a huge. Like I never thought that I would find somebody like that, but like when it comes to having people advocate for you, not everybody's comfortable saying, "Hey, this person uses they them pronouns," like correcting people. But I feel like people are more afraid of misgendering me in front of her than they are of me. like in front of me. Like,
I love that.
sorry, they them, like, sorry, they, because she's like, no. I mean,
You said it wrong.
she's so kind, but she's also like, I mean, she's from Miami. She's very much like no.
She's spicy.
She's very spicy. She's the sweetest human alive, and
She's sweet and spicy.
very sweet. Yeah, she's just been a huge advocate for me. She, pushed me to do the consult for top surgery, and nothing I've ever gone through, even when I thought I was going to be evicted, has been too much. So I think like just finding the right person who, like you are going to be too much for a lot of people, and like I'm not everybody. It's kind of like, do you watch Love Island?
Yes.
Whenever Maya the papaya is like, I'm not your cup of tea, so don't drink it. For the right person, your cup of tea is the
right.
And
I know I'm too much for a lot of people.
same.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm perfect.
It's your shirt. Practically perfect
Yeah,
in
I'm
every way. Michelle might be the most high maintenance person ever, but I love her.
Oh,
So
podcast princess. That's what it is.
So again, you're not too much for me.
No.
We're
And that's what
we're not too
go
much
ahead.
for the right people. I've started to say, like, I've been told that I was too much. I'm like, am I too much or are you not enough?
That will
It takes a long time to mentally get to that point, though.
Yeah.
Especially going from, it sounded like when you were talking earlier, how much of a people pleaser you were to now. It's just, and I'm working on that too. It's a wild way of thinking. It's just a different way. Yeah,
Yeah.
You mean you can just ask for what you want? What do you mean? No, it's funny. Like, so my girlfriend grew up, like, we grew up so different. So different. She grew up, it was just her mom and her brother. So she doesn't have this huge family unit. She didn't grow up super, like, she grew up Catholic, but not like how I grew up. Like, I grew up, you have to present yourself in a certain way if you want people to take your church serious. Like, she did not grow up with any of that. And so it's been really great for me to be around somebody who, she is definitely not a people pleaser. 100% not. She's not afraid to say no. She's not afraid of taking up space. And for her, it's like, it's not like this. For me, I'm like, excuse me. Like I'm going to be crying, screaming, throwing up in my head, but I'm going to do it anyway, but I'm going to be scared. But she's just
the whole time.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I would be sick to my stomach being like, oh my God, I said that wrong. And they'd be so upset with me. Like, even like,
years later, think about it like, oh, why did I say that?
Yeah. And she's just like, fuck them.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? Like, I had one time, there was like a situation at work, and I was like, should I say something? And she was like, do they pay your bills? No? Say something. It was another server. It wasn't my manager's, but she was just like, okay. So why aren't you saying something? Like, I'm like, there's like this guy at work, like, that genders me all the time. And she was just like, say something. And I'm like, well, I don't want to cause an issue. I don't want to be a problem.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I mean, he's being a problem to you. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you may or may not cause a problem, but they are definitely causing a problem.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be so
Yeah, they
thoughtful
are.
about causing a problem for them, you should be just as thoughtful for yourself too.
It's crazy to like to have people giving you shit when they're more than likely also struggling and just pretending like they're not. Like I had somebody at work trying to give me life advice, and I'm like, don't you hate your wife and openly talk about how you want to leave her, but you can never grow a pair to do it? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Are you
Someone that gives you marriage advice that's been divorced 3 times.
It's so crazy. Like we're all like, I don't know. I feel like I was listening to y'all's episode talking about imposter syndrome, and I'm like everybody probably has it. So why are we all pretending like I don't know.
I feel like we're all coming off of the whole, you don't talk about it, and you hide everything bad that's going on, and you always act like you have it together. And, therapy was always seen as a weakness, and it's becoming a strength, and people are talking about it, but it's going to take a long time for people to talk about it. So that's why I feel like we're doing this, so that people realize everybody has it. Everyone's doing it.
Yeah, and it's so, this actually reminds me of something, Kris, you were talking about how the environment feels a lot more dangerous and volatile. And I started thinking about how like the civil rights movement and how it became worse before it got better. And it's like we went on one side of the pendulum and now we're on the other. And I hope that will lead us to, more acceptance and having more of an open mind. That's why conversations like this are so important.
I was saying there's a quote, and it was I think it was said during the 80s or something, whenever gay rights started to actually become more of a movement. And they were saying, like, during the day we protest, and then at night we dance. Because if we're not dancing, there's no point in doing protesting. Like, we need something to fight for. And we're fighting for our right to dance.
What would you tell that little kid who was cutting up her dress and her mom was stapling it? And what would you tell that little girl now?
I would applaud her for knowing who she was. They were. Like, I would, I struggled for a really long time with, like, not wanting to be suicidal, like, and all of that. And I used to think, like, oh my God, it's never going to get better. Nothing is ever going to be better. There's no point. It's never going to improve. And so I would tell her that, like, life does get better. She just has to hold on. And eventually she's going to become a person that she would have thought was really cool. And also we have a ton of beanie babies.
Yeah.
And like, also I would like to know that all of this stuff that she got bullied for ended up being stuff that her bullies thought were cool. Like, as an adult, I've had my elementary and high school bullies reach out to me and, like, apologize. I had multiple apologize. And one of them told me at a wedding that, like, it was like, I hadn't seen her in years. And she had said, she's like, I always love seeing, like, what you're up to and, like, where you've gone. Like, you've moved so many cool places. And, like, this girl has made life miserable for me. And Grant, part of me, the petty in me, Petty LaBelle, thought, oh, you made my life hell for being weird, and now I'm weird, and you still live in our hometown, and you got knocked up. by a guy that you didn't want to be with. Like, you know, like I hate comparing. Like the petty in me is like, oh, now I'm cool.
I call her Petty Betty. That's my that's But no, the things that you're being ridiculed for now they admire in you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was told when I went back for my 20th anniversary or reunion or whatever it is, that I won. And I was like, what did I win? But I'm excited about it. I'm never coming back. Why did I come to this? This is awkward. I don't like having small conversation with any of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the people that we envy so much as adults, I'm like, you're not interesting.
No.
Maybe they are, and I'm being judgmental to be petty. Like, I don't know. But like, I'm like, everything that I wanted to be popular so bad, but the people that I wanted to be popular by are people that I don't think are cool.
Mm-hmm.
They peaked too early.
Yeah.
We've had that discussion. I peaked too soon.
Damn it.
Like, I feel like we're right on time. Like,
Yeah.
Like maybe their lives are happy and fulfilling. I also think about like the people that have been critics of how I live my life now live lives that I would never want for myself.
You'd mentioned therapy, community. Is there anything else for others who may be afraid of being seen, asking for help, living authentically? Is there any other advice that you would give them?
To just keep going. Like, it sounds so cliche, but like, I feel like you're gonna get there exactly when you're supposed to get there, and also to have some faith in yourself. And think of like one thing that's helped me keep perspective over the last several years is like, I have gotten myself through every single bad thing that has ever happened to me in my whole life. I got through it. And, you know, like we're betting people, those are pretty good odds. Like if your success rate at getting through shit is 100%, then I feel like you're going to continue to get through shit. You know, like I feel like nothing is ever as bad as we think it is. And it like, I had this conversation recently yesterday. My girlfriend, I was like pretty much telling her all the things that I feel like are wrong in my life, or like where I am behind. And, you know, she was just like, I feel like you think that everything is so much worse than it actually is, because you're telling me these things and these are like normal things. And I'm like, oh, really? And she's like, I mean,
You're a pessimist.
Yeah. Like I was thinking like, oh, I'm in my 30s and I'm still renting, and I had planned to own a house by now, and I was planning on having this, and you know, I'm in my 30s and I take public transit, and like I am in my 30s and I'm like just now really transitioning, and like sometimes it feels like I'll compare myself to like other trans people that have been on T for way longer than me. And they look so much more developed than me. And I still have a baby face, and like they have full beards and things like that. And like, you know, I could be like putting myself in, if you would have done this sooner, then if you would have saved more money at this point in time, then you wouldn't be in this situation. But like she's like, everybody's in that situation. Like, what are you talking about? Like, she's like, I'm in my 30s and I'm renting too. Do you think I'm a failure? I'm like, well, no. But you have blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, like, we're both in our 30s. Like, you're fine. So,
Yeah. Would you say you've held yourself to unrealistic expectations?
yes. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. I've recently learned that I need to talk to myself the way I would talk to a best friend who was going through the same thing. And it's wild how we pick ourselves apart. And even people who will lift us up, you know, maybe they had a bad day one day and said something they didn't mean, but you still hear the thing that they didn't mean, but negate all the cheering that they had for you, and the well wishes and the support and the encouragement. You're still hanging on to that negative, is what I find myself doing.
Yeah. Or repeating things that our parents said.
Yes.
Like, can you do anything right? So it's like, no matter how many good things I do, the second I make one little mistake, like maybe I spent too much money at Goodwill or something.
A labubu.
On a labubu. And like in my brain, I'm like, God, you make so many bad decisions. You do this. But I'm like negating everything else you've done up to this point. It's like, really, we're so afraid of failing.
Yeah.
Or like being a failure. And it's like, that's part of it. Yeah. I used to have somebody that every time I would say something mean about myself, she would ask me, who was the first person that said that to you? What's the first time do you remember the first time you remember hearing that? And it would always be, well, my dad said it. Or, oh, so-and-so said it. And she's like, so was that actually you? Is that your voice? Or are you hearing your dad's voice? Well, I guess technically it's my dad's voice. Okay. So, she at that time my parents and I were speaking. And so she's like, is your dad even speaking to you right now? So why does his voice matter right now? Is he right here? No. Okay. We can acknowledge it's your dad's voice. So ignore it. You did as a kid anyway. Like
I know.
Fair.
Were you like, oh my God, you're so annoying. You're so strict.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so annoyed that you brought this up, because this shit is what my therapist is teaching me right now.
That person, it was an ex that was in school to be a therapist. And so I feel like I was like her practice client.
Whitney knows all about that, because she benefits off of other people going to therapy.
Oh God, yes. I've already, yeah, I don't. I should, but yeah, I've thanked Michelle, my sister, my friends. I'm just like, yeah, thank you so much for giving me your advice from your therapist, and I haven't had to pay for it.
Sure.
Is there any message for anyone listening who feels unseen or unsafe, or any resources, anything that maybe you wanted to cover that you didn't get to touch on?
I know that I've talked a lot about how important unity is. But the one person that will always have your back hands down unconditionally is you. So if you don't have people that are able to see you, obviously you can reach out. I've made a lot of friends online whenever I felt like, because I have, like, my closest friends aren't trans, so there have been times that I've really leaned on people that I met online that are trans. But at the end of the day, the one person that you have to wake up to and go to sleep with and live with all day is you. And the only person in your head is you.
Mm-hmm.
So you absolutely have to have your back more than anybody else. Like, I know that I feel like that's super cliche.
No, I think if you don't like the voice that's hitting you, I think it's a data point to tell you to relook at something, or if something doesn't feel right, or get curious.
Your intuition always knows.
Yeah.
I think the I would tell myself, like, obviously, I hope my current relationship works out. But no matter what, even if things don't work out, I have me.
Mm-hmm.
I will be there at the end of the day. And so I'm like neglecting myself is not an option, because relationships come and go. And like I said, in an ideal world, the relationships that we're in today. But I was like, I'm realistic. Like, people can change.
Yeah.
There could be a time where Sharon decides that she doesn't want to be with the person, that she misses being with a woman.
Yeah.
Like, things can
Anything, an alien can come up and zap you and take you to another planet. Like, so many things can happen. Anything.
And in that other planet, you're with yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's, like, my space is sacred to me, because that's the space, like, I built this for myself. This is my safe space. You have to have something for you that's yours, because the only constant that you're going to have is you.
Yeah. That's such good advice.
Yes. I had one thing I did want to say. So I do love me some Pedro Pascal, and he is a huge supporter of the community. And he actually posted something the other day that I wanted to make sure to share, because the government, closed down the suicide hotline for the community and for the youth. But there's the Trevor Project that is still available to everybody. So we'll make sure to link that to this podcast. And but that's 24/7, 365, still available to anybody that's having a hard time.
Yeah.
Because we do have hard times, and having someone that you can reach out to if you don't have someone is, I think, important.
I heard that Canada also started a number.
Oh, they did. I heard
Yes.
that too. Yes.
They're like, we got you.
Thank you,
Don't
Canada.
worry. Yeah.
Thank you, Canada.
We'll link that too. The number one thing is to raise your hand when it's the hardest. And I know I come from a privileged place of saying that, and there's always a resource somewhere. Just like if you always feel dark and feel like you're like in a dungeon, the other side of that is the light, and you just got to find it just somewhere. It's out there.
If I'm in a dungeon, am I getting saved by a 500-plus-year-old Fey man with wings?
No, you're getting saved by a Labubu.
A Dubai chocolate.
Yes.
The Dubai chocolate Labubu matcha.
Yes.
Run, don't walk.
All right, we're gonna go into our lightning round, and I probably should have left this off my notes for you.
Lightning
So
round.
it's gonna be fast. All right, ready?
Yes.
Favorite dog breed? Go.
Great Dane.
Oh, Great Dane. Oh, me too. Favorite thing about having a deeper voice?
Tricking conservative lawmakers.
Deep. Rewind. Dream job if money didn't matter.
The arts.
And then a fear you've conquered that still makes you proud.
Well, I think transitioning would be.
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
All right, Kris. I love it.
I love it. I'm here for the right reasons.
I love that journey for you.
So, Kris, we would love to know what your high, low, and your buffalo is for being here with us and being on our podcast and getting to share all of your story with us.
See, my high would be. I feel like all of it was a high.
Yeah.
Yay!
All of it was a high. The low would be. I hate crying in front of people, so I teared up a few times. The Buffalo, I think like unexpected would be to learn that like both of y'all have also struggled with the same things. Like we're all like living parallel lives in different ways.
Yeah.
It's easy to think that it's just me that's struggling, but you know, all of us are parallel struggling.
Nobody has it together. And if they say
No.
they do, they're lying.
Lying or boring.
You're lying and you're bored.
Thank you for listening to Use Your Fear podcast. Oh, great.
You can watch full episodes on YouTube, listen on all major podcast platforms, and support us on Patreon for additional cutting room floor footage. Follow us on all social media and visit our website at useyourfear.com to connect. Or if you've got a fear story to share, we'd love to hear from you. Please share and support so we can continue to have these meaningful conversations so others know they aren't alone.
Have a great day. Have a great day. Bye. Bye.